Hi, and welcome to the ZENworks Mobile Management How-To videos. In this video, we're going to look at how to enroll iOS devices to the ZENworks Mobile Management System. Device enrollment is the process of registering the mobile device, in this case iOS, with the ZENworks Mobile Management System. This creates a device object in the ZENworks Mobile Management System so that you can then assign policies to it, you can view the inventory details of it, so on and so forth. It also allows the device to then apply those policies, as well as provide access to the applications and files that you decide to share with the device. Finally, once the device's identity in the system has been created, you can then perform remote operations on the device such as wipes, locks, and passcode clears. For iOS, it's important to note that APN certificates are required in order for properly functioning remote operations, as well as some of the additional inventory capabilities. There's another video in this series that covers how to create the APN certificate for your ZENworks mobile management system. The process of enrolling an iOS device is quite straightforward. First, you need to establish the APN certificate in the system. Once that's been done, you need to create the end user or ensure that the user's ActiveSync domain has been configured for a hands-off enrollment. These are covered in a different video as well. Next, you then want to install the ZENworks application from the iOS App Store. For our demo purposes, this step has already been done to save time. Once the application's been installed, you simply launch the ZENworks application and enter some basic credential information. Specifically, you're looking for the username, which is the locally defined ZMM user or the ActiveSync username, the password, the domain information, and the domain here is the ActiveSync domain, not a Windows domain, the IP address or DNS address of the ZMM server, and then a flag to control SSL. Novell, of course, recommends using SSL, and that's the default option. Now, during enrollment, the first thing that's going to happen is the user's going to be validated. So we're going to check his username and password and make sure that he belongs in the system. Then a device object is going to get created, and some basic device statistics are going to get sent. Additionally, the location and jailbreak status of the device are going to be enabled and sent to the device if you've enabled them as an administrator in the system. Additionally, every time that the end user launches the ZENworks application from this point on, the location and jailbreak status will be sent if that's enabled. At that point, iOS profiles are distributed to the device. These are the management profiles for the device that control password restrictions or other mobile management settings such as restrictions of the camera or FaceTime or any of the other iOS settings that you can specify, as well as register the APNS certificate so that the agent is now listening for APN notifications. Finally, an ActiveSync mail account is created. So even if you're not using email per se, let's say you're managing something like a set of devices you're going to use in patient rooms, or you're using some devices that are going to be used by students that don't have email. Even with those devices, it's going to set up an email account. It'll be a bogus email account that'll never get any email, but it's there because that's how we're able to enforce the ActiveSync settings on the device, allowing you to do wipes and such. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to enroll an iOS device. For the purpose of this demo, I have an iPod that I've installed the VNC client on. So we're looking at the actual iPod itself, and I've installed the ZENworks agent. So you'll see the ZENworks icon here. This is the agent that needs to be installed. I just installed that from the App Store. When I launch the application for the first time, it will ask me for some information. It's going to ask me for username, so I've created a local user called support. This doesn't have any email behind it, it's simply a user account just for managing the device. I can then specify that user's password. Again, since I'm not using ActiveSync, this is a password locally defined in the MDM database, or the ZENworks Mobile Management Database. I don't have a domain since I'm not using ActiveSync here, but I do have my mobile management server, so I'm going to give it the address to my mobile management server. Let it use SSL. I can also, if this is a company-owned device versus personal, I can go ahead and set that up as company, and then I can say enroll. So now we'll enroll this device. It will authenticate. It's now going to ask me to install a profile. So in order to install the profile, you'll see this is the MDM iOS APN configuration profile. This is the profile that allows it to get APN notifications. When I click Install, the user will be prompted to enter their PIN code. In my case, it's a simple 1, 2, 3, 4. And that then adds that profile. After a few minutes, it will then continue as the APN notifies it to add additional capabilities. So if we were to wait here a few minutes, it would then ask me to provide an active sync password. That active sync password in this case is going to be the same as the user's ZENworks mobile management. So here you'll see password required. So I'll enter the same password that I used. I'll click OK, and that is being used to set up the active sync policies. You can verify that everything's in place by going into the settings, going to profiles, and you can see the profiles that have been added to the system. So in my case, I've got a passcode file, which is requiring a passcode. I've got an active sync for doing my wipes. I've got some restrictions for things like preventing mature content or those types of things. And then I've got the APN one. The first one was actually manually provided by me because I'm using a certificate authority that's not natively trusted by iOS. So that was manually installed ahead of time. So you've seen in this video how to enroll iOS devices. Once the devices have been successfully enrolled, you're ready to start managing them from the ZENworks Mobile Management Console. Thank you.